Hey guys, welcome to the Building On Demand YouTube channel. I'm super excited to have you in this video. So today, and in this video specifically, I want to talk to you about marketing numbers, or I should say numbers in marketing, and it's part of sales as well. So marketing and sales, right? So let's say every single time when we launch different campaigns, we always look at certain numbers in order to understand if the campaign is working well enough, if the campaign is profitable for our customers or for us, right? So we want to know, let's say, how much is the lead for, what was the price of the lead, what's the cost per lead, what's the cost per acquisition. So the cost per acquisition is how much does it cost us to acquire that specific customer. So today I want to go with you through all these numbers and basically explain to you how you can calculate everything, and then also maybe talk a bit about the goal settings part. So when it comes down, let's talk a bit about goal settings. So let's say if you're doing real estate, or you run a gym, maybe you own spa, maybe you're in insurance. If you run a service-based business, I'm pretty sure you know your numbers, or at least you should know your numbers. And when it comes down to numbers, or let's say customers, most likely you already know how much you want to make per month or how much you want to make per year, right? So based on that number, let's say in the beginning of the year, or maybe at this point now, you know that by the end of the year you want to make $200,000, right? For example. So based on that number, or $100,000. So based on that number, you need to figure out how many clients do you need. And how many clients you need, this is where you're going to calculate the cost per acquisition, right? And then based on how many clients you need to also figure out how many leads you're going to need. And the difference between leads and clients is the conversion rate. So the way it's going to work out for you, so let's take as an example, I don't know, a gym, right? Or we could take as an example, let's take as an example a gym, right? So if it's a CrossFit type of gym, or a gym where they do boot camps, let's say the cost of the program to join the gym is $200 a month. Or there could be a special program up front, and then on the back end, there would be a monthly program, right? Where you pay on a monthly basis. So at that point, you need to figure out for yourself how many clients do you need to get every single month, and then how many of them will stay with you and then use your services on a monthly basis. So if we talk about $100,000, you basically need to do all the math backwards. And if you know that one lead or one client is worth to you, let's say $500, or maybe $1,000, let's say it's a yearly contract and the value of the client is $1,000. So this way you can know that, let's say you want to make $10,000 a month, and which becomes $120,000 a year, right? As an example. So based on that, you need to get 10 clients a month, pretty much. So based on those 10 clients a month, you need to figure out how many leads do you need in order to close them, and so they can become your customers, right? At that point, let's say if your conversion rate, which is right here, if your conversion rate is 25%, you need about 40 leads per month in order for them to convert into 10 customers, 10 paying customers. So at this point, you know that you need 40 leads to get 10 customers per month, that your conversion rate is 25%. That's when we talk about sales part, right? So now, since you know all these numbers, when you start advertising, when you start paying Facebook, Instagram, Google, or YouTube, or any platform, right? So when you put in $1,000 per month into ads, you would need to see what's the cost per lead for you. So when people fill out the form, let's say the cost per lead could be $20. It could be $12, $10, sometimes it's even $5. It really depends on your offer too. All right, so let's do some math. So let's say you invest $1,000 into advertisement, and the cost per lead on average is about $20. Again, as an example, it could be different for you. It all depends on the offer. So at this point, we can get about 50 leads per month based on $1,000 budget, right? About 50 leads. The cost per acquisition is what makes the difference between the leads. So let's say because you close 1 lead out of 4, which is 25% conversion rate, then at that point, the cost per acquisition for you would be $80 pretty much, because it's $20 per lead. Out of 4 leads, it's $80 to acquire the lead, which is pretty good because the lifetime value of the client is $1,000 and you're paying only $80 to acquire the client. So it is important for you to know all these numbers. In case with CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions, that really differs. That's really different, I would say, between different platforms, because the CPM on TikTok is, I believe, 3 or 4 times cheaper than on Facebook, on Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook and Instagram used to be pretty cheap back in the days, let's say back in 2016, 2017. But these days it's getting more expensive to advertise on Facebook. So a lot of people are moving to TikTok, but again, you still can get quite a lot of leads, pretty good quality leads from Facebook and Instagram when you know how to do it, right? And also you need to look at the CPC, which is cost per click. I would say the average cost per click is about $1. So let's say if you're getting it at $1, that's a pretty cool, that's a pretty good cost per click. Sometimes if the offer is good enough, it could be, let's say, around 50 cents, 60 cents. So most of the times, the way we look at it, if the cost per click is at about 50 cents, people really like the offer, because so you're getting a lot of clicks. And if you look at it that way, if the cost per click is about 50 cents, 50 to 60 cents, and you're getting lots of clicks, people like the ad is performing really well. But then if they don't fill out, let's say if you send them to a website or send them to a landing page, and they don't fill out the form on landing page, there is an issue with the landing page. So you need to look into that. So at this point, you basically need to track all these numbers. So the CPL, which is cost per lead, cost per acquisition, cost per impressions, conversion rates, and the cost per click. And in order for you to know if your ad or if your marketing campaign is performing well enough and you're not losing money, right? Because you can't afford to lose money, especially if you run like a small business, and most of the times people are like, you're not backed by VC companies and you're taking out money from your own pocket, and you want to make sure that you recuperate the cost that you invest into marketing and advertising, and you make some profit throughout, let's say, those 30 days that you launch campaign. So these are the main numbers that you should look at on a daily basis when it comes down to numbers in marketing. Let's say if we talk about sales, of course you need to track how much revenue you're getting on a daily basis, how much is profit, and how much goes to, let's say, to pay for other expenses. And I would strongly suggest you to track it on a daily basis. Some people do it on a weekly basis, some people just look at it on a monthly basis. I also strongly suggest you to do it on a daily basis, so you can have an idea of where you're in the process, and if you need to push a little more, let's say, closer to the end of the week, or maybe everything works pretty well based on the goals that you have for that specific month or that specific week, right? Everything that I talked about in the beginning. So you set a goal. Most of the times it's a monetary goal. By, let's say, the end of the year, I want to make this much, and then you break it down into little parts. So you break it down into quarterly goals, monthly, weekly, and daily. So at this point, you need to know how many leads you need to generate on a daily basis. What's the cost per acquisition, cost per 1,000 impressions, what's the conversion rate, and what's the cost per click. So when you know all these numbers, it's going to be way easier for you to optimize everything. Because I'm pretty sure you hear some people talk about optimizations, tweaking the funnel, tweaking this offer here and there. But how can you tweak it, or how can I optimize it when you don't really know your numbers? So make sure that you start looking at your numbers. Sometimes it might not be the pleasant thing, I guess, but it is a super important thing to do in the world of marketing and sales, because otherwise you're not going to go far. it is extremely important for you to know all your numbers, especially since you're the main driver of the business. If you already have systems in place, if you have team members, that might be a bit easier because they can look at numbers. But even in that case, I would strongly suggest you to look at numbers yourself on a daily basis. So maybe even your team members, just ask them to send you numbers on a daily basis. Let's say by the end of the day, we reached this many people filled out the form, we got this many leads. Maybe you're looking for leads, but then also you have an application form. So you can see how many leads you got and how many people out of those leads filled out the form, the application form, to become qualified for your service. So that's pretty much it, what I wanted to share with you in this video today. If you like this video, go ahead and like it right under this video, and make sure to subscribe to our channel, because we're trying to bring as much value as we can, as we possibly humanly can. And we always share our knowledge, and the most important part is experience, because you can't beat experience. So if you do have any questions or topics that you'd like us to cover, mention them below.